Hello, everyone. Welcome to the May 2023 Astro-Tarot Deep Dive. I am Murillo. I am here with my co-host, Susheela Kundargi, and we're here to talk about May. Susheela, I think Susheela is a little more excited about May than I am. I think I look to have a positive twist on things, but I think Susheela's got me beat this month. So when I sent her the list of dates, I sent a note of like, May feels like a lot. There's an activation of a lot of fixed energy, and so the fixed signs of the zodiac are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And the fixed signs of the zodiac, on the one hand, are amazing. I mean, every sign has a gift, and the fixed signs gift is that they remain steady in the course of what they've set out to do, regardless of what comes in the way of that along the way, and they remain the course. It's really beautiful energy. There's a different level of commitment there. On the other hand, it's sinking your heels and not being able to see a different point of view, not being able to feel unstuck. But the energy here will get you unstuck. There's no doubt about that. And I guess it just depends on how you welcome becoming unstuck. So what do you think, Susheela?
Yeah, well, we were just talking before and I was mentioning it felt a little snitty or something like that. And I compared it to, this is the month of where I live, stinging nettles. And it's a plant that gives you, if you go out with, bare arms or legs, it gives you the skin irritation. And it's not a bad thing. It's not like poison ivy, but it's really irritating. But it's a plant that's full of medicinal benefits. So if you know how to handle it, it can provide you with so many benefits. And that's kind of what this month is like. It's like if you had a friend who was a brat, they're a real brat and you love them for it anyway, because you know how to handle them. But it's a bit of that bratty energy, like,
Yeah. So one of the things I've found with this much fixed energy is that it has been helpful, at least in my personal experience, in that there are moments where I feel stuck and I'm like, what do I do? And then it's really a matter of saying, I got to do the thing. And then things just flow. And the level of manifestation that comes when there's this much fixed energy in the air is actually very fulfilling. And it's almost immediate, like materially, it's almost immediate. So I didn't mean to start off negatively. There's a lot of great energy that I feel is going to bring us out of a funk, if that's what we've been experiencing so far during the last couple of months, especially with eclipses in the air.
Yeah, I feel like it's a fun month because it's stuff is kind of getting thrown at you, and you get to look at yourself and go, all right, I'm not allowed to do this. So what do you got for me? I'm going to just sweep the floor. And whatever that energy that you put into all these little things that don't feel like they're at all connected to your big picture plans, they are. The energy is still there. And I think that's what you're talking about, that way of manifesting is really like, it's really quick and really instant. It's just maybe not in the way that you thought it would be. And I had, I don't usually do this at the beginning, but I had pulled out a card that sort of sums up the month in a completely different deck. And it's this success and transformation. And so we're transforming, all that work we've been doing, we are transforming into this new era, and we're doing things differently. We're being forced to do things differently to get a different result because we want a different result. So it's not what we thought it was going to be.
Right. And so that's a really great segue to get started in the month, because we start off the month May 1st with Pluto already starting a retrograde. It just moved into Aquarius in March. But now, as of May 1st, Pluto starts its retrograde in Aquarius. It's going to go all the way back to Pluto in Capricorn at 27 degrees, to then move back into Aquarius as of late January 2024. So from May 1st, we start that retrograde period for the rest of the year.
Mhm.
I like this because we got a glimpse, and I think, look, the only real frame of reference that I have of Pluto moving into another sign and seeing the global manifestation of it was when Pluto moved into Capricorn in 2008. It was a great housing crash. I remember at the time I was, I don't know, 21, and I lost a job, and so many people lost a job. Pluto in Aquarius felt like I was constantly seeing, and it's a very different point of view, 21 to 36, right? Very different.
Yeah.
Pluto in Aquarius, I was like, this feels too ungrounding, unstable. I need the earth energy. It was a lot. So Pluto going back, moving backwards, is, I think it's our redo. We got a glimpse. This is Pluto in Aquarius. Things are changing. The way we do work is changing. The technology is moving so quickly. The way we manage money is changing. And I think that May is going to be a month where we really see that. And so for the rest of the year, we kind of get to create a foundation so that when Pluto moves into Aquarius again, as of January 2024, it doesn't catch us off guard. And so also on May 1st, we have the Sun-Mercury conjunction in Taurus with Mercury retrograde, known as an inferior conjunction, as a Cassini, whatever it is. This is the midway retrograde point of the Mercury retrograde. Not a coincidence, because this tends to be a time where the sun comes together with Mercury retrograde, illuminates something we have been thinking about, which we can begin to move forward with, even though Mercury is still retrograde.
Mm-hmm. So I have very interesting cards for this. So for the first aspect, we have the Wheel of Fortune. And it's kind of funny that there's this little monkey on there also. It's that little playful energy, and then we have this winged cat and a bunny rabbit all up in there. And it's that feeling of, okay, when you want to spin something or you want to swing a bat, you have to go backwards a little bit for unwind. You want to pull the slingshot, you want to spin that wheel like on The Price is Right, whatever.
Yeah.
And then give it, it's that feeling. And the wheel, it's something cyclical. So sometimes we're at the bottom and sometimes we're at the top. And typically, I always read cards in the upright position anyway, because I just read the energy behind them, not whether they're reversed or not. So in this case, it's like we're about to spring into that very prosperous, fortunate period. But there's a little bit of there's just that little bit of backtrack. Are you sure this is what you want? Is this the way you want to go? Did you make sure that you, crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's and included that last page? And did you make sure that are you really, did you clear off that thing? Did you deal with that person? Have you dealt with that bad habit? All that kind of stuff. So it is fortunate. It feels, you may actually feel lucky at this time too. Like all those serendipitous things and, your dreams and your ideas. It's like, oh, that was the thing that I wanted to do. Yeah. All of that stuff is in there. And then you kind of get to test it out. And I think we were talking about that too last month, where as we enter this Pluto in Aquarius, and then it goes back into Capricorn, we'll get used to that Aquarius feeling, and then not to go, oh my gosh, what's happened? June 11th, we're back into Capricorn, right? In this new era. it hasn't quite kicked in yet. So you get to try it out. You get to sort of readjust, re-envision, and then next January it's going to kick in and it's going to be there for 20 years. Yeah.
Right.
So that's that feeling. And so just to keep in mind, it's fast, it's slow, it's a little it's a little monkey energy. And then for the sun conjunct Mercury and Mercury retrograde in Taurus, we have the Queen of Cups, which is a strange energy, but it's that reminder to go with, when things get uncomfortable, go with your heart. Go remember to like open up your heart again and not go the other way, not close it down, not shut it down, not become overly analytical or intellectualize your emotions. It's like really go with that heart focused perception, I guess, is the way to get out of it. So that's the little reminder of when it's going to be like, this is crazy, I can't deal with this, why is this happening? It's like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, open that up. Yeah,
I love that. And thank you for that reminder. I'm going to be very honest here. I thought that I was really ready for Pluto moving into Aquarius and like really looking forward to it. Too much, too fast. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. It really shook up a lot of my own stuff. And so I'm bringing this up just because, one, I think it is important, like coming back to myself, coming back to my heart has been incredibly helpful. And this shows the gift and the beauty that retrogrades are. Like, the universe and the cosmos is so kind in that, oh, this is a taste. Now you know what it's like. It came at you quickly. Now you have 6 to 7 months to really create something, redo something, rethink it. And in that is the opportunity to be very intentional with the decisions that you make.
very much.
So there's a lot of power in there. And in true Taurus nature, even though Taurus is an earth sign, there's so much about coming back to the heart. How does it feel to me? How does it feel in my body? And making decisions from that space. Really beautiful. That takes us to May 4th. We have Venus and Gemini square Neptune and Pisces. At the same time, Venus and Gemini is creating a sextile to Jupiter in Aries. So we have two different aspects happening at the same time, creating a configuration in a way. Venus and Gemini, I feel, has been fun. I feel it has lightened the air. Thank goodness, Venus and Gemini, nothing too serious, social butterfly, that's on the one hand. On the other, it's like having 20 million tabs open at the same time and going down a rabbit hole of interest. That's not terrible, but you want to be mindful. Venus and Gemini square Neptune and Pisces, on the one hand, I think it lends itself for having actually like healing, forgiving conversations with someone. Venus and Gemini, communication and partnership, relationships, square Neptune and Pisces. Neptune and Pisces, the energy of forgiveness, of oneness. When they square it together, there's a catalyst for change. When we come and just talk it out, human being to human being, I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, that can be a catalyst for change. On the other hand, if you're not functioning from the highest expression of those, it's a lot of words that make no sense. It's like two people speaking two different languages, having a different conversation. I've had arguments with my partner, and I'm like, I feel like we're fighting about two different things here. I feel like we're not talking about the same thing. And then we just end up confused. That's what this can turn into. Venus and Gemini, sextile Jupiter and Aries, it's about the celebration, Jupiter, of the individuality of each, Aries, and Venus and Gemini communicating that. So this is, to your point, you get to choose how you take this energy on. It can be a lot, or it can just be simple.
Well, I like that you brought up that argument. I've had those arguments too, where at the end of it, you're going, both people are going, but that's what I'm saying. And you're going, well, that's what I'm saying. And then you realize you're actually saying the same thing. You're not arguing at all. It comes down to semantics. Like somebody's using this word, and in their mind, this word means something that you don't think it means. And that's all it is. And so, interestingly enough, we have this King of Swords, and the King of Swords is that it's all about the voice. It's about the thoughts, the communication, the intellect, seeing things really clearly, but that really clearly can be overly focused on something. And so it has, like you say, it has that plus side and the, the negative side. It's like, yes, you can be hyper focused, but when you're hyper focused, you may not see the other things that are outside it. And we want to reach that point of being the King of Swords, because the King of Swords is the highest manifestation of the swords energy, of that air energy. And Gemini is also an air sign, which is depicted by the Lover's card, which shows up here coincidentally. And this is also a choice card. And because it's a major arcana, it's a big, important choice thing. To be eloquent, not using my King of Swords technology yet. So to have two things together, it's like, it's the choice of the words that you use to express the things that you think you feel and mean and want. So there's that, am I saying this the right way? Am I spelling things out in the right way? So slow it down a notch. And this is also about love and partnership. And if you're not, in a relationship, or you're not looking for a relationship, it's all of your encounters with other people. It's very much about interacting with people. So your your intentions versus how you express those intentions get to be revised, because you may get faced with somebody on the other side having a reaction that you're thinking, well, that's so odd. Why are they so hostile? But it's something in the way that we've expressed it. And so it's a little bit more self-reflective, and it's not to like look at yourself and say like, oh, I'm, self-blaming because this person's reacting in that way. But it's that opportunity to reflect if we're receiving something that's kind of disjointed from what our intentions were.
And that's a great way of putting it, because Gemini, one of its gift is about curiosity. And Venus in Gemini is curiosity in relationship, curiosity. So be mindful of being curious. If you receive something that feels off, it's like, okay, what was that? This is especially true because as of May 5th and 6th, depending on your time zone, we are going to have a lunar eclipse in Scorpio. So I want to take you all back to October, November of 2022. Okay. Every time I mention that, people are like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. This isn't to scare you. I don't think that it's going to be the same, but it is a closing of a cycle. It is the last lunar eclipse in Scorpio that we are going to experience in Scorpio for another 9 years. And it's the last lunar eclipse in Scorpio that we're going to experience with Scorpio as the south node in 19 years. So this is a major closing of a cycle regarding scorpionic themes like obsession, manipulation, being stocky, wanting things exactly how you want them. Another thing that this ends a cycle of is trying to find what's wrong with you. Scorpio energy, I like to call Scorpio the detective of the zodiac, the depth psychologist of the zodiac. And I think that since January 2022, when the South Node went into Scorpio, it has been heavy digging deep. I don't think that people are going to stop that. I just think that there is going to be more of a willingness to say, yes, this is what I carry. And I'm tired of like trying to fix myself. How can I hold this more compassionately? And just one more thing, the lunar eclipse in Scorpio is going to be at 15 degrees Scorpio, which means that the sun is going to be at 15 degrees Taurus. This 15 degree of Taurus, 15, 16 degree of Taurus has been so important because we had a solar eclipse in Taurus last year at 16 degrees. Uranus has sat in Taurus at 15 degrees Taurus. So there's something about that midway point of Taurus and Scorpio that's important. That lets me know that whatever it is that we're realizing we're releasing and letting go of, habits especially, certain thought patterns, like we know this isn't anything new. So it's a significant ending of a cycle.
Yeah, so that degree is like smack dab in the middle is what you're saying, right in the middle of it. Well, we have this Page of Swords, and you might be going, that is a weird energy. But so again, it's air, it's not water like Scorpio. But pages are all messengers. And this particular page, well, they're not only messengers, but they're juvenile energy as well. And this one, it's a messenger and it's about communication. So it's like a double whammy in the communication aspect. And we've got lightning there. And the Page of Swords is also about spying. So you talk about stalking and things like that. It's a spying energy quite often. But it's also things like channeling or guardian angel kind of energy or spirit guide energy. So there's a lot of information that comes forward, and you talk about being a detective. It also might be like my brain works like this anyway. I just absorb. And somewhere in the middle of the night, I notice an incongruent aspect going, oh, that's weird. That person said that thing, but 3 months ago they said this. So they were lying then or they're lying now or something's fishy. Like that. And that is the energy of this. So you may notice incongruent things. Your brain might be picking up on, subliminal things that you're not consciously aware of at the time. You might be having vivid dreams. You might have a lot more messages in your dreams. You might be channeling information or having downloads or feeling more connected to certain things. And that might be confusing for people if they're not used to that. Be like, well, where is this coming from? Like, why are my dreams all full of this stuff kind of thing? And it's that energy of communicating or receiving or sending or transmitting information that you're maybe not so used to because it's a little otherworldly in a way, if your brain is used to doing that. And it is also that, are you getting caught up in watching what other people are doing? Are you the person that's doing it, or is this something that's happening to you? And people might be feeling that way. If you walk into a place and you're not sure you're in the right room and everybody's kind of looking at each other like, are you here for that job interview, or are you here to, are you the maintenance guy, or like, it's that weird kind of like looking at everybody differently.
I will say this, anyone with strong Scorpio placements, and I consider strong Scorpio placements sun, moon, ascendant, Venus, maybe Mars. Mars rules Scorpio, so yeah, the personal planets in there. This journey started for you all, again, January 2022. So with this lunar eclipse, there's a closing of a cycle of who you used to be and who you are now. What I will say is allow yourself to get to know this new you. Again, especially if you have strong Scorpio placements. We've all experienced the South Node in Scorpio, eclipses, different parts of the chart. But there's so much about the identity and the personality of someone with strong Scorpio placements that you might feel at a loss, or you might find yourself saying things or voicing things that you never would have dared to before. And there is this sense of just being very unapologetic about your expression. But it's almost like I've been through too much. So I've been looking forward to this lunar eclipse, I feel, all year. And so when I do that, it's like I hype it up, and then it's not everything I thought it would be. So maybe that's a good thing. But
Moon
it's
in
an important one.
Scorpio over here. So
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And that's just the first week of May. That's just the first week of May. Okay. All right. So as of May 7th, Venus enters the sign of Cancer, and it stays there through June 5th. So Venus in Cancer, water energy, very intuitive, much more sensitive, much more heart-centered. What do I need to feel safe, Cancer, in relationships, Venus? So very interesting that it's coming after a lunar eclipse in Scorpio, when there is this transformation, because Scorpio is the sign of transformation, and Venus in Cancer is about, what do I need to take care of myself? Again, what relationships feel like home? Venus relationships, home, Cancer. What feels like home within me? So there's a lot of nurturance with this energy that I think is so appropriate, again, for so much fixed energy in the air that can feel forced, that can be like, you have to do this now. And so Venus in Cancer is a constant reminder of, okay, what do I need before I move on to this?
Mm-hmm. How many times did you say the word home?
Right.
We have the card that means. So the Four of
Wow.
Wands is like the four pillars of a house. It's a very soft energy. It's a very welcome energy, well balanced, warmth, comfort, celebration, harmonious relationships. It can be things like engagements, or buying a house together, or moving to the next level of a relationship, or all those very sweet, peaceful, milestone type of things that can happen in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's not really a negative connotation to this. It's just like foundations reaching a, I don't want to say a plateau, but getting to that next stage. Yeah, it's a very, very sweet energy for that day.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Which is interesting because on May 9th, we have a Sun-Uranus conjunction in the sign of Taurus. So Sun-Uranus conjunctions can be really exciting. Expect the unexpected. You manifest an opportunity that you really didn't see coming. Being in the right place at the right time. This is not a week where, if you have an idea, you want to sit on it and oh, well, what if it's not right? What if I'm not ready? The timing. This is not the time for that. Taurus is a very grounding energy. It's earth energy. Sun-Uranus conjunction is about spontaneity. Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So there's this quality of a genius. There's this quality of being a genius. The sun represents our identity. Those two coming together is allow this genius to come out. I find it really interesting. The first week of May is kind of a buildup towards this lunar eclipse. That second week, I feel it's like going downward on that roller coaster.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's actually a release. And I think that it can actually be very exciting.
Mm-hmm. So I've got the 9 of Wands in that one, and that's about boundaries. And again, it's not a negative thing, because it's almost like when you develop your niche in a area of business or something, people think, oh, that's so restrictive, and then I'm not taking in all of this other stuff. Well, you still are, but when you focus and say, no, this is what it is, this is the line in the sand that I'm drawing, most of the energy then comes into that spot. So if you say, no, I'm not standing for all of those other things, this is the decision that I'm making, this is where I'm positioning myself, it also then improves your own value and your self-worth and your identity, and all of those things get heightened, instead of going, oh, I'm a little bit of everything, I'm all of these things, and it's so spread out, and then the universe doesn't know what to bring you. So
Yeah.
it brings you a whole bunch of little bits of everything.
Mm.
But with this, you're creating this boundary and saying, no, this is where I am, this is where I choose to focus, this is what I will stand for, this is what I will not stand for. And guess what you get? You get more of the good stuff. And it's,
Um,
the wands are fire energy. And I think we kind of forget that with this card, because it's not a firm, it's not angry, it's nothing like that, but it goes back to your self-worth and your own values. And it comes with valuing yourself first. When you do
yes.
that, then you get things that match that vibration.
Yes. I want to point out the Sun Mercury conjunction, even though it's about expecting the unexpected, being in the right place at the right time, this isn't something that's happening by accident. This is something that is finally connecting with you after a long time of having put in work and showing up and doing the thing. It's one of those things where it's finally you're meeting luck, right? Even though you have been aligning with it and building up to it thus far. Um, According to your value system, Taurus energy is the sign of values. Values, whether it's what you believe in, whether it's what you live your life by, to the value of, what you charge for your work, for instance.
Mhm.
So the Sun-Uranus conjunction, yes, expect the unexpected, but if it manifests in that way for you, it's not so unexpected, because it is something that you have been working towards.
Yeah,
Um,
nothing is random, really.
right,
So
right,
yeah.
exactly. So May 12th, we have Mercury retrograde in Taurus, sextile Saturn in Pisces. So this isn't a new aspect. This is something that has repeated itself in the past, when Mercury was direct, then it went retrograde, now retrograde sextile Saturn. And as it goes direct, it's going to sextile Saturn in Pisces again. Mercury in Taurus, earth energy. Let me rethink, let me be practical. What are the logical steps to take towards this? Saturn in Pisces, trusting divine timing. Pisces, Saturn, the trust that if you are committed, you show up, you put in the work. Saturn, it is inevitable that these things are going to come together for you. But both Taurus energy and Saturn energy are about patience, patience. So with so much energy of manifestation, this is really about, what have you been planting? What have you been thinking about? Who have you been connecting with? It's allowing your very human mind to take care of the things, and knowing that that is in fact how you are meeting the universe halfway. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Yeah.
It sure does. So we have a major arcana. We have the High Priestess, which is, it's still funny because it is Pisces energy. It's still, the moon is in there. Some
Yeah.
things are hidden. So it's a reminder, no matter how prepared you are, you will never know everything.
Mhm.
You can never
Mhm.
prepare for every single eventuality. And that shouldn't stress you out. That's the part you have to let go of. And so your intuition is there and your trust is there, so that you take those little steps knowing that there's a whole bunch of unknowns. There are always unknowns. So when something shows up and you're like, oh, that's unexpected, you
Right.
can then go, okay, well, it was expected that I would get unexpected things showing up. And everything that shows up is actually supposed to be there for some reason. It might be there for 2 seconds. It might be there to see how, balanced you can, how you can regain your balance again after being thrown off. It can be actually something really beneficial too, that you're going to use. But that's what this is all about. It's like you have to trust your intuition. Don't get thrown off. If you get thrown off, come back into balance. Okay, I am never going to know everything. And if you think that you're going to know everything by being so prepared and so whatever, you're going to be in for the biggest disappointment of your life. Nothing goes according to plan ever, really.
I
You
feel
you do the stuff and stuff happens and you keep going.
so called out right now, Susheela. I feel so called out right now. Got it. Noted. On the same day, May 12th, we have Venus in Cancer, trine Saturn in Pisces. That card was so appropriate for that day. I mean, Venus in Cancer, anytime that we have water energy, especially an emphasis of it, it's the reminder of you're always guided, you're always supported. Come back to your intuition, come back to your heart. Venus in Cancer, what do I need to feel safe? Within myself, Saturn and Pisces, it's the trust. It's the trust that when you show up in the best way that you can, that is enough. And so that Cancer Pisces energy, it's new. We've never had a Venus in Cancer, trine Saturn in Pisces, at least not in the last, 30 years. So if this is a brand new aspect, this means you're dealing with brand new situations. And can you lean into the water energy of trusting in order to be guided? Really interesting.
We have a beautiful card. We have another King of Pentacles, very grounding energy, very stable. This king is not bothered by all of those things that show up that he didn't know about. He's like, it's okay, it's cool. I got money, I got food in the fridge, I have my feet are on the ground, I've got this nice big throne to sit on. It's all good. I'm surrounded by people. Yeah, there's unknowns. That's cool. How interesting, how curious.
Right.
That's where he's at, because everything else is under control. It's
Yeah.
interesting, the stuff that shows up. It's not something to throw him off because he's confident. Yeah.
And that's especially true because technically we're still in the middle of eclipse season. There is so much during eclipse season that is out of our control, and that is exactly how it's meant to be. Eclipse seasons are a gift in that they align us with what is meant for us, regardless of what our ego thinks we want and need. That's a gift, because that is the universe saying, let me get you out of your own way.
Yeah, and that should be fun.
Right.
In terms of like, this isn't boring or dull or the same old, so we can choose to go, oh my God, there's like weird little, or we can go, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. That takes us to May 15th, where Mars in Cancer is now creating a trine to Neptune in Pisces. So Mars in Cancer is that, how do I actually protect what allows me to feel safe? Mars has been in Cancer for a few weeks already. It's on its way out. And so we have the two cosmic lovers, both Venus and Mars in Cancer, at opposite ends of that sign of the spectrum, but there is an emphasis in Cancer energy before Cancer season, which is about home, establishing a sense of home and safety within, balancing. Whenever we have activation of both Venus and Mars, especially if they're in the same sign, it's how do I find the balance in this? Masculine, feminine energy. In the sign of Cancer, how do I find balance By going within, Cancer. How do I find balance? By trusting my intuition, Cancer. And Mars connecting with Neptune in Pisces. Neptune in Pisces is, again, the trust in something greater. Now, Neptune in Pisces can also be looking at life through rose-colored glasses, being in denial, lying to yourself, lying to another. I feel, again, eclipses, especially in Scorpio. Scorpio is this energy that has the gift of like stripping us of self-deceit. There's no lying to ourselves right now. And regardless of what's showing up, we can still trust. And so it's really interesting energy how we're heavy deep into Taurus season, grounding energy, what is real. And there's still this emphasis on you have to come back to that inner voice, to that still voice. Not an accident.
We have another page. We've got lots of kings and lots of pages here. Juvenile energy, playful energy, spontaneous. He's got a little lantern there. Everything's kind of, you know, the vibe of the rose-colored glasses, like I'm not really paying attention, everything's kind of fun and cool and whatever. He's illuminating. You can only illuminate so much, again, with this one little lantern. And there might be that feeling of like you illuminate something and then you're in that more childish reaction of like, oh, this is not at all what I expected. This totally shatters my personal vision of what I thought this was. Then you get over it because you're not actually a child anymore. You are an adult, but you're seeing something in a new way. So that may make you feel that you are not mature in how you're envisioning something. Simply meaning that it's new, it's young energy. And then you can shift right then and there to sort of expand and alter that vision of like, okay, that's not what I thought it was. And that's shattered everything, and, you know, shattered parts of my ego and shattered parts of my ideals and all of those things. And then again, bring it back into balance. But in the best sense, it's a very fun and playful energy, the page, because they're all about communication and messages and the information that we receive. But this has that more spontaneous, fiery, passionate vibe about it, but in that very, you know, youthful, juvenile sense.
I like that. That keeps bringing back this energy of allow yourself to be new at this.
Yeah.
I've said that a lot, but there's so much about this energy that, and I think it's a good reminder, like even for me, like this is new.
It is new.
Mars is about action and direction, which is just straight ahead. But the square to Neptune, it's like, wait, what is forward? Especially Neptune and Pisces. I don't know what is forward, what is backwards. The water energies are about, don't be too serious about it. Come back within and find that compass. And, you know, I say that, but it's true. Like I say that with some hesitance, but that water energy just keeps calling us back. Okay, May 16th. This is a big day because Jupiter, the planet of expansion, the planet of gifts, the planet that I like to call the magnifying glass of the zodiac, that once it gets to a part of our lives, it makes it bigger so that we can see it, enters the sign of Taurus. This is really great because Taurus is, again, that energy of manifestation, fruition, value. Taurus rules money in the zodiac, the energy of money, the energy of abundance. So here we have abundance in a very grounded way with Jupiter, expansion. This Jupiter is going to be in Taurus through March 25th, 2024. I feel that a lot of the things that we have been working hard at, starting, initiating, all of the things, at least for the last 2 years, Jupiter and Taurus, I think, is going to bring a lot of manifestation. Be mindful of where your thoughts are, what you're focusing on, because it matters. It matters. Jupiter and Taurus will be so much about physical manifestation, but what you manifest physically will be what you have been focusing on.
Yeah, we got an amazing card for this when you know,
I want to see.
you give me the list, I shuffle, cards fly out, I go, oh. I do that the whole way, and you never know what's going to come out. I mean, I never know what's going to come out, and I know 15 minutes ahead of you. That's it. So we've had a lot of pages, and we've had a lot of kings show up, and pages are that juvenile energy. Kings are the very mature energy. And in between, we have the knights, and knights are champions of their suit. Whatever the element is, they are champions. They are things that go at varying speeds towards their goal. Recognize the verbiage, okay?
Absolutely.
And this particular knight is about an offer, typically. It's an offer coming from that place of love. So if it's not a romantic offer, it's the stuff that fills your heart. Of the Knight of Cups. And so we're almost out of Mercury retrograde when this shows up. And that's a really good thing, because stuff is beginning to flow to us. This could be a job offer. It could be an offer of love. It could be somebody asking you out on a date. It could be somebody telling you about a new opportunity. All that stuff is flowing to you, and it's a decent pace. It's not the fastest of the nights. It's not the slowest of the nights. It's coming 80% of the way there and saying, ta-da, I have this cup for you. Would you like it? Would you like some of this? That's what it is. And that is like a great energy to begin however many months that is. What is that? Like 7 months, I guess.
7 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. No, 10ish months.
Oh, yeah. March. Okay.
March.
Yeah. 10 months. Yeah.
I like that you asked that you posed this, like, would you like this? And here's why. May 17th, we have that Jupiter newly entered in Taurus, square Pluto, retrograde in Aquarius. So the way that I can see this manifesting itself is, again, a manifestation in a way that you did not expect. And the square to Pluto in Aquarius is like, this is really different. Am I up for this? Is this really what I want? Is this? So it is a question. Would you like this? And again, we go back to the power of intention, being intentional with how we're building our lives, because it's the decisions that we make are so important, right? And again, not to scare you, not to freak you out. It's all part of the process, but this can be one of those things where allow yourself to be new at it. If it feels right, but it looks different, Pluto in Aquarius reminds us to try it out. Try it out. And Pluto moving retrograde in Aquarius and back into Capricorn is, oh, okay, I can get used to this. This is how this works now. It's like what's coming up. It's like, I've been reading so much about people like switching careers and moving into tech, because that's what's growing, Pluto and Aquarius, right? And so I've read about teachers, elementary school teachers moving into tech by, taking a certification. Very different environments, very different field, but just so full of possibility, but they don't know it. They have to start all over. Jupiter in Aquarius, it gets to be grounded expansion, and it gets to be new and fun.
Yeah. And there's that, as you say, that whole thing of you get to try it out first. we get to try out all these things. When we're really rigid in what it is that we think we want, when we focus on, I want a house and I want it to be like this, and I want the white picket fence, and I want the this and that, and it's really difficult for the universe to give you exactly this rigid thing when the feelings behind it are maybe not as clear. So when you go with, why do I want these things? How do I want to feel? What would I like reflected back at me with a partner or a job or a whatever? It's like, instead of these very rigid parameters, when we go to the feeling place, it allows the universe to bring us this really cool manifestation that usually exceeds our expectations, because we can't imagine things as amazing as the universe. So we get this really cool card, another wand card, which is interesting in this very earthy month. It's the Three of Wands. And that's where we get to plan. We plan, but it's really early phases of planning where you're like, okay, this is my overarching vision. I am now receptive to the universe showing me some possibilities. So there's the offer. Oh, would you like this? No, that's cool. That's nice. I prefer, marble instead of slate. Thank you. And it goes back. Okay. So your vision gets tweaked every time something is presented. Something shows up. Would you like this? I didn't even know that existed. That's fantastic. Yes, more of this. And that's what this is about. It's very early in your planning where you can go, I often compare the Two of Wands and the Three of Wands to, I want to paint. The two is, I would like to paint. Do you know how to paint? No, but I would like to. It's that really conceptual pre-planning. The three is like, okay, I've bought the canvas, I have the paints, I have the easel, I've got Bob Ross on the TV. I'm ready to go. I don't know what he's going to show me. It's that level of planning.
I love that. It
Bob Ross is the universe.
Bob Ross is the universe. It just feels, here's what I think. And again, I think this just speaks to a lot of where my head's been lately. Things don't have to be more difficult than they seem to be to you. You don't have to make them more difficult. A Jupiter square Pluto can be like, whoa, too much. Or it can be, all right, I'm just going to go along for the ride and see what happens. Because either way, that square, there's a lot that's out of your control, for better or worse. So go for the ride. And what you said is, it gets to be gentle. Taurus energy is very gentle. There is such a gentleness, like kindness to it. It's not necessarily sappy, but it's very genuine. So Jupiter in the zodiac already represents this. And it's in a higher expression, it does represent kind of like the lantern that you carry when you're walking in a really dark cave. That's your light. And so in Taurus, it's okay. You can trust the path. So it's great energy. On May 18th, we have Mercury moving direct in Taurus, and it's going to sextile Saturn and Pisces. So this is the second time this month that there is a Mercury sextile Saturn. Again, Mercury and Taurus now direct. Okay, so what have you been thinking about? What have you been reconsidering? How did you have to shuffle your plans? What felt stagnant for several weeks now gets to move forward. But the sextile to Saturn and Pisces is, you don't have to rush. There is this feeling of a natural flow of things. Abraham Hicks' teachings teach so much about the universe will show you the next logical step. That's what this feels like, especially with Mercury moving direct in Taurus.
Yeah. Perfect card. Earth sign.
Oof.
First step. Ace of Pentacles. It's the first tangible sign of something for the next, however long, the next phase. So we had the offer, we had the Knight of Cups showing up with this offer, and then this is the first, sign of something. So it could be that offer showed up, or maybe it was just an interview, maybe it was an opportunity, and then you get to go, okay, yes, I will take that. Or yes, I will take the sum of money to put into something. Or it's the first start of something tangible, and it's usually material or money related, work related, but it can also be in a relationship because it's just a very grounding energy. So it's like that first, maybe it's the first step after the infatuation has worn off. The little bite of reality, and go, yeah, you know what? The butterflies are gone, but this is still pretty good.
Yes, that's a good feeling. And on the next day, May 19th, we have the new moon in Taurus. This technically marks the end of eclipse season. Again, the universe is so perfect. Notice how the first 18 days of the month have been like, oh, but this and that, and I have to trust, and I have to let go of that. Okay, this is new. And it's like, it's kind of a wild ride. And
Yeah.
now I understand why you're saying, oh, this is going to be fun. This is a new moon in Taurus. It's a new beginning. It's at 28 degrees Taurus. So it's important to remember the degrees of the zodiac. This is towards the end. Every sign is made up of 30 degrees. Once we get to about 25 to 29, there is a maturity of the sign. There is a knowing. There is a knowing of that energy. And the energy begins to really, you begin to assimilate to it, if you will. A new moon, new beginning in Taurus. You're starting something that you have been thinking about. Mercury retrograde in Taurus. It's something tangible. There is a plan. There is an answer. 28 degrees Taurus is, there's a sense of maturity. There's a sense of, I'm really setting this new intention to grow something from a grounded space, a grown space, a space of value. If you're starting a job, if you're starting a business, if you're starting a project, anything that has to do with money, honor your value, honor your worth, ask for more. The worst that can happen is they say no, so there's room for negotiation. There's so much about this of just ask for it, ask for it. So Mercury not being retrograde in this new moon is, again, this really beautiful, and it's on purpose.
We have the third night showing up, and this is quick. This is liftoff. This is final. You get to go. Somebody says, okay, unclick that pause button, off you go. So it's fast energy, it's swords, so it's about communication, talking, expression, clear thinking, and plowing forward, like straight ahead. So we had the page, we had the king. This is the direction to the king. This is like, I'm going to go on this destination. I have enough information to go forward. I know which direction I'm taking. And it's not, it doesn't have to be the direction that you're taking for the next 30 years. It's that confusion is gone. The curiosity has developed a little bit more. The offer has shown up. The paperwork arrived, and you're like, yeah, okay, I can go. I can start. I can actually move in this direction. That's really great. If you want to change it next year, that's fine. But at least we have liftoff right now.
I think that for those of you who have had really obvious big manifestations during eclipse season, so the time frame being, I'll take it as far back as the beginning of March. through now. And I know a few people in my life who have had like really big manifestations come up, and they're like, well, we're still waiting for this, we're negotiating, we're thinking about it, we're waiting for the loan, that kind of thing. This new moon, as of this time, it's when things begin to move forward. Yeah. May 20th, we have Mars leave the sign of Cancer and enter Leo. Way different energy. Way different energy. Mars in Leo stays there through July 10th. Mars in Leo, few things. Mars, fire energy. Leo, fire energy. It's go time. Like you said, it's go time. Direction ahead. I no longer not know what direction I'm headed. And Mars and Leo are both just masculine energies, and it's egoic. And I say that in the best expression. So here's the thing. Mars and Leo, on the one hand, arrogant prick. On the other, it's I move forward in according to my heart's desire. And here's why. Leo rules the heart. Leo rules the sun. It rules all of our signs. I'm a Capricorn, you're a Pisces, you're a Taurus, the direction of where we are going matters. And there's a lot of focus there. There's a lot of focus. We have this really beautiful new moon, and we have Mars and Leo, both fixed signs. Again, eye on the prize kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is exciting energy. I like this energy. Where I can see it going like arrogance is if you're feeling insecure and indecisive. You don't have to be arrogant about it. Ask for help. Ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Yeah.
So the card that I have, it's got those two sides. It's got that when somebody is feeling in the lower vibration, they will do things because they feel insecure, unstable, whatever. They become suspicious, or they hoard things, whether it's their emotions or possessions, or like, no, you can't have this. This is mine. Why are you doing all of that stuff? When I think about Leo in this, while you were talking, it's no wonder that most the front man of rock bands are Leos.
Yeah.
And they might have huge egos, but that's what they're there for.
Right.
They're, like, I think my favorite band back in the day was Led Zeppelin. I mean, you think of this character up there. It's like, yes, they have that persona for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this interesting little card here, the Four of Pentacles, and it's often in this case, it's the miser. Okay, so that's the lower vibration of this card, but it's also a 4, and 4s are about balance. And when it comes to material things, money, finances, your possessions, it's also on the higher vibration. It's almost better than the 10 of Pentacles, almost better, in that it has all of this possibility where you get to stand in your truth and in your value and go, I am actually worth this. So that's the ego talking, but it's not overly talking. It's actually acknowledging, yes, I have just leveled up. Yes, I am worth this. Yes, I can have that corner office. Yes. And you do the stuff that matches it. You are aware, even if you're learning, even if it's new for you, all of those things, but you can match it because you've asked for it and the universe gave you all the stuff. They offered it to you and you said, oh yes, that's better than what I thought. Okay, so you sign up and you go. And it's more than you ever, the possibilities are more. And your ego needs to kind of step up and stay in check, and step up and stay in check. Yeah.
So much of the zodiac, each sign is not independent of the other. Everyone is a step towards the next one. Everyone builds towards the next one. That's looking at astrology from a holistic perspective, and the tarot probably works in the same way. Mars is leaving Cancer. And notice how for more than a third, about 2/3 of the month have been a lot of water energy, a lot of emphasis on Pisces, a lot of emphasis on Cancer. Come back to yourself. There's no clear direction right now. You don't see it. That doesn't mean that it's not clearly there. Come back within. Because Mars in Leo, again, it's go time. You're coming from a place where you've cultivated within in order to trust that even though this new path is new and you've never experienced it, you get to shine. Your sun, your identity, what you worked for, Leo energy gets to shine and you get to move forward in that. Cancer comes before Leo because that's the zodiac telling us we have to go within first so that when we shine like the sun in this world, we know where we're going. We know why. None of it is by accident. And so even if the first, again, 2/3 of the month feel like, I don't know where I'm going. This feels new. This is heavy and I'm just crying and I don't know why. Come back within. Come back within. Okay, May 21st. Couple things going on. Mars in Leo opposes Pluto in Aquarius. The sun enters Gemini. And when the sun enters Gemini, it creates a sextile to Mars in Leo. So here's Mars in Leo. On the one hand, Mars in Leo, opposite Pluto in Aquarius. I feel that this is going to be interesting. I think that this is going to be something that we see a lot in the headlines. That's not a light aspect. It's actually quite forceful. We have Mars and Pluto, which is the higher octave of Mars, going head to head. Mars in Leo, again, there's a level of arrogance. Pluto in Aquarius, there's a different level of arrogance, and it can be intellectual. Mars opposite Pluto, again, things don't have to be that difficult. You don't have to get in your way, and it's okay to accept if someone doesn't understand where you're coming from. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You just have to come back to yourself. What is your purpose? Your purpose has been unfolding. That's why we had that Mercury retrograde. Then Mars connecting via sextile to the sun newly entered in Gemini is keep it light. It's not that serious. What someone else thinks of you, tells you, none of your business. Look at all of these possibilities that are over here, Gemini. When you focus on the possibilities, when you focus on this new, outlook, you get to really shine. So there's a matter of choice there. And it's either you getting in your way by your own thoughts or being intimidated by the opportunity that has presented itself. And with oppositions, it usually involves someone else. Be mindful. You don't have to fight battles that aren't yours. When people have ridiculous opinions about you, that says so much more about them than about you. So really curious to see what cards came up for this day.
It's really neat because the middle aspect there that you mentioned, I'm going to hit that first, simply because I pulled out this judgment card here, but there was another card stuck to it. So we get a 2-for-1. So we actually have 4 cards for this day. So okay. Judgment is a 10 and a 10. And it's about transformation and unlocking something here. So this judgment, there's a positive and a negative side. It's everything, everything we've seen so far has. It's something final again. And I don't mean like that something's ending, but it's like a perception, a decision, something has actually firmed up. It's like a final judgment, a final decision, a thing that unlocks an opportunity. You are no longer who you used to be, something like that. This little sneaky thing stuck in behind that is failure to actually see this in its fullness, to not see this as a real opportunity, to think, oh, it's an opportunity, but it's just like all those other opportunities.
Mhm.
No, because you cannot see all those steps ahead. This is something different because you are different.
Mhm.
We are all different. Everything is different. The planet is different. So no, this is not a run-of-the-mill opportunity. Okay, so that's right in the middle. Now, on either end of this, we've got wands again. So this is another ace. So this, in this deck, it's interesting because they're writing out something. They're scrolling out their little desires. But what this comes from is that inspiration. It's third eye fire energy of what am I envisioning? This isn't intellect. This is something coming from source, coming into your mind, coming out of nowhere, something
Mhm.
from nothing. Where does it come from? Where does inspiration come from? It comes out of nowhere. You look at something and you're like, oh, that's neat. That would make a great whatever. That's where that comes from. So we start with that, and then we get that funny energy in the middle. And then we end up with the Six of Wands, which is victory,
Mhm.
which again goes back into that like proud energy, being in the spotlight, accepting the accolades, being able to receive, not feeling like, no, 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 no. Oh, being able to accept compliments, accept the stuff that shows up for you. When you accept it and you accept it humbly, you will get more of it. When you show up with gratitude, you will get more of it. So the little story that plays out with these is kind of funny. We get like a beginning, middle, and end in one day, like of this little exercise of, okay, I'm going to write out my intention. Oh, I get shown a thing. Oh, it's just like all the other things. No, 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 it's not. Step forward, step forward. And then it's like,
Right.
oh, here it is. And you're like, oh, no, I don't deserve all that. I only asked for it. No, the universe is okay, okay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm
Right.
going to do something good with this.
Right.
And and that's what all of that is. It's a busy day.
That it is.
It is.
Um, I think that Mars and Leo gives us it's that energy that gives us the permission to say, look at me.
Yeah.
Yes, I deserve all of the good things in life. And understanding that that's not just coming from, again, from that, that doesn't take away your humility. If anything,
Doesn't
you,
take it away from other people. That's
right.
the other thing. It's like
Yeah.
everybody will be in that energy. So everybody is allowed to have that.
Mhm. It's a true expression of abundance. If you can see it and recognize it in another and be happy for them,
Mhm.
then that's because that's what you see in yourself for yourself. It's Gemini has so much to do with perception, with how we perceive life, the lens that we look through. And Sun in Gemini sextile Mars and Leo is what you see in another is what you see in yourself in the simplest way. So that takes us to May 22nd, Mars and Leo square Jupiter and Taurus. This feels explosive, exciting. If it were Jupiter and Aries, I think explosive would fit more, but we do have Leo there. We do have some fire energy. Mars is there. So on the one hand, again, just if mind the arrogance, this can definitely be an inflation there, right? Inflation of the ego and not in the best way. On the other hand, squares are catalysts for change. I think there's more of this just very fast manifestation and having to make decisions quickly. Like, oh, the loan came through. Okay, you have to sign now and you have to commit to this. And oh, the job, did the job went through? Oh, I need to give 2 weeks notice. No, we need you to start now. So
Mhm.
that kind of thing. Let the universe guide you. If it's showing up, don't say no. Like,
Yeah.
really tune into value, worth, abundance. And it makes sense because Taurus energy, Mercury is now direct in Taurus. Things make sense.
Yeah. So, when we look at all the cards that we've had pages, knights, kings, fours, aces, and tens, like the
Hmm.
Wheel of Fortune, and Judgment is 2 tens. And then, well, I've only got 3 cards left here, and I have 2 tens, and they're the really good ones. So previously we had those tens, nines are the end, and tens are the end. And we were always getting, the nines and tens of swords and the nines and tens of wands, of like this energy of like, I'm so tired of this. When is it going to be over? Well, you have one more thing and then it's over. The 10 of Cups is this happily ever after vibe.
Hmm.
And so all the stuff that you're being offered, you actually get to have it. And so our judgment might be a little off, going, well, I've never had it before. How can I trust that that's actually it? Yeah, because it's different. Everything is different. So yes, what were you working for if you thought you were actually never going to get it? Yeah, you are going to get it. So here it is. And it is a very balanced energy, but you do actually have to accept it. And then you still have to work at it to, to keep these two aspects in balance and harmony. So we have like a masculine, feminine energy dancing around this thing, and they're raising their cups in celebration and completion. When we were kids and we hear that happily ever after, they never talked about like, well, who's going to take out the garbage and who's going to do the cooking and you still have to do that to maintain the happily ever after. And it's not just in relationships, but everything. There's a practical day-to-day aspect of it, but this is pretty darn good. So when it shows up, go, yeah, that's what I asked for. Yeah, okay, I'll take out the garbage to have that job. Sure. Yes.
Right.
Yes, I will
Right.
do it. I will do the stuff. Yeah.
Jupiter in Taurus is expansion through a step-by-step process. And Taurus is about step-by-step, and it's not complicated. It's the least complicated of the 3 earth signs. It's the first earth sign of the zodiac. It's very, okay, I want the thing. This is what I have to do. And Jupiter there says, yep. And that's what allows you to expand. And Mars in Leo is, okay, I am the prize. I get to shine. Yes, I get to have this. So I love that card for this. There's so much simplicity there. Again, don't get in your own way. It's not that complicated.
Well, even just you saying that, it kind of reminds me of like, oh, you want some light in the room? Well, we got this thing, it's called electricity, So we've got a light socket. So, oh, what do I do with that? Oh, you just need a light bulb. Where do I get them? Well, they sell them everywhere. So you just come home and you screw in the light bulb, and then what do I do?
Light.
You flick the switch. Oh, look, I've got light. The whole room is lit up, even in the middle of the night. And then that Leo energy is like, well, that's cool. The light bulb's cool, but I'd really like, now that I know how light works, I want this really cool chandelier. And then this really cool chandelier. That's how I'm visualizing what you're saying.
There's so much potential. There's so much potential to unfold. And that's what's so exciting about Jupiter and Taurus, to me, at least. And this is just the beginning of it. On May 26th, we have Venus in Cancer, sextile Uranus and Taurus. On the one hand, Venus connections to Taurus is like love at first sight, or you meet a new friend and it's like, I feel like I've known you forever. We can talk for hours, and it's your new bestie. Venus sextile Uranus is creative inspiration. Like that comes out of nowhere again. Venus sextile Uranus, money that can come out of nowhere. A commission, a job, a client. Venus in Cancer, in this case, especially connecting with Taurus, is come back to yourself. Remember that the power of manifestation lies in when you come back to yourself, envision, ground, and then take action. Taurus. So this is a soft aspect. Sextiles and trines in the zodiac are invitations from the universe saying, here's this energy that you can lean into and that can help you on, this particular manifestation. It's an invitation. Again, there's a choice there. How do you want to ride this energy?
Mhm. Well, we have a beautiful card for this, and it's a major one. So we've had all this masculine energy, all this Mars stuff, all this, action and Leo and whatever.
Right.
We have this beautiful Empress energy.
Oh,
And this
yeah.
can be like your perfect partner. Everything's flourishing, but it's receptive. It's not active.
Right.
And it's passive energy. And I always say this, but in our Western society, we have a hard time with that. Passive, it makes us feel like we're not doing anything, like we're being lazy. But
Mm-hmm.
it's that feeling of, think of it like gestation. There's a
Mm-hmm.
whole lot going on that you are doing that you're not actually thinking about having to do, but you're doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's a feminine energy, it's a softer energy, but there's a whole lot going on there. And it's very productive. Like, I hate to use that word, but just in our Western thinking mind, it is very productive because stuff is happening. Stuff is growing. It's being nurtured. It's sitting there. It's percolating, fermenting, all of that stuff. It takes some time. It takes some coddling, it's a little checking, but again, it's receptive. So the universe is still giving you stuff. It's giving. You can't see all of it. Sometimes you do. I mean, we need to sleep every day. That's part of that energy of like
Right.
regenerating. Yeah.
That's such a nice card because that energy, that sextile is so soft. Even with Uranus involved, there's still a softening there.
Mhm.
So yeah, beautiful card for that. Finally, on May 28th, we have the Sun in Gemini square Saturn in Pisces. I like this because the Sun in Gemini can be like, oh, I'm manifesting a couple of new things, or I realize that this is the direction that I want to move in, and it requires some planning. And in true Gemini fashion is look at all the options, look at all the things, look at all the people, look at all the collaborations, look at all the things. The square to Saturn in Pisces is stop, focus, focus. Saturn in Pisces is what I've come to call compassionate accountability.
Mm.
And it's because Saturn has so much to do with structure, commitment, discipline, understanding that you're building something in for the long run. And the Pisces energy there is just kindly bringing you back to, in the coaching world is known as the why, coming back to your why. So while the Sun in Gemini is about connection and, collaborations, information, a lot of different things, the square to Saturn in Pisces is going to be nice to just kind of halt and focus, because the previous 10 days has been so much movement that we need to just kind of reassess a little bit.
Well, this is the last card, and it's the last 10. And you mentioned 10 days, and 10,
Yeah.
10. We have 10 just, 2 cards ago. It is the 10 of Pentacles.
Ugh.
And it's typically about generational wealth, but it's also about putting thought into what I do now. How is it going to impact the future? Maybe not
Mhm,
even my own future.
mhm.
How, sustainability and all these other impacts, all the decisions that I make right now. So it's not just about my own personal financial future, but in a material sense, in a tangible sense, what I choose to do, focus on things I choose to buy, dig up, use, leave behind, whatever. It's all of that. And it's it's wealth though. So it's like, maybe being connected to people you thought you could never connect to, people that were beyond your reach previously, ideas that were beyond your reach, being able to tap into certain things. But it's very tangible, it's very abundant, and it is far reaching. And then there's that responsibility factor of, am I making a decision that's only good for me right now to line my pockets, or am I making a decision that is going to still positively impact, or at least neutrally impact, the future and not negatively impact it? So it's a phenomenal card and a great way to end the month.
Yes. So after, going through this with you and seeing the cards, I'm not so nervous. And it's just, this eclipse season has just kind of hit me where I feel like at a loss. Again, Pluto in Aquarius was just like, oh, you're just in the air and kind of figuring it out and trying to get connected again. I feel that this is going to finally do that. May will be that month, and it just feels, now I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, I just out of curiosity, while you were saying that, I pulled out a rune, and I don't know if you can see this. It's kind of like a U
little bit.
on an
Okay.
angle, like
Okay.
this, upside down, and it's the wild ox.
And what is that?
It just reminds me of a very Taurian energy, because it's like this, it's
right.
the precursor to modern cattle that the Norse had, and it charges ahead, and it's a strong animal, and it's forceful. It was domesticated eventually, but at that point it's undomesticated. So it's this raw potential, grounded energy, masculine energy, raw potential.
I think so much of this month, again, after having gone through this, it is really that energy of, I've got this. I know who I am. Like, I've been through tough stuff before and I have figured it out. I've got this. And I think that we tend to go through those periods where we forget who we are. We forget like that we've been through things, that we've survived things. And this gets to be that again. And we get to be excited. We get to be grounded in the knowing of the strength that we carry.
We might have to convince ourselves a little bit too, because we're going to be like, I don't know. I really don't know. But it's like, yeah, you might have to just, and I don't like the term fake it till you make it, but you might actually have to step into it to know that this is you.
Yeah. So thank you for calming my nerves around May.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Well, we hope you're still, tuning in, really enjoying this. Thank you all for the messages that you send us. I get messages from people that you really enjoy our stuff. It's a pleasure to connect with Susheela every single month. Share with your friends. One thing I like to remind people of every week is go back to that week where the week that we're living, see how it's unfolding for you. It's one thing this is another thing that people do, is they watch it at the beginning of the month, middle of the month, and the end of the month. That's awesome. That's really beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right, Elle. See you next month.
Bye.